Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. It's your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. I've got Chris Cartman here, who covers Arizona State for 24/7 Sports. They are in the Big 12 title game, and we are going to be talking to them not only about that, but about the season in general and what may lie ahead. So appreciate Chris giving us your time today. Before we get into that, everybody, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to leave those comments as you always do, and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. But getting into this, first things first, like I always do, Chris, how are you doing, my man?
Busy, but it's been good recently. Wow, like the ASU fan base has really come out in droves supporting this team, and it's a pretty special year that they had. And 16th picked in the preseason media poll to finish as the 1 seed in the Big 12 championship game. I've never covered a season like it.
Yeah, it is absolutely bananas what they have done, and it's a good thing. As I said at the beginning of the year, when we talked I think it was in our fall preview, I said, Arizona State, it seems like it's just simmering, that the fans are just waiting for something to happen for them to get behind, because they're there, but it's from what happened with the previous regime. It's like, okay, we're going to wait on this. It's not very exciting. And that has all changed. You've seen Arizona State fans going absolutely berserk for this football team. And that's good because, like I said, I think it's a proud fan base. I don't know that much about it, I'll be honest, but it just seemed from afar that it's a proud fan base, Chris, and they were just looking for something to get behind. Am I right in that assessment?
Yeah, people were very turned off by the administrative guidance in recent years, the NCAA investigation, program bottoming out with consecutive 3-win seasons for the first time ever. And so many people, I just think they faded into the woodwork. But those people are all back right now. I'm getting so many messages, texts, DMs, people asking me questions. I'm like, I haven't heard from you in 3 years or whatever. But yeah, Kenny Dillingham, people love this guy in the Valley, locally, ASU alumnus, so much passion. And even when he puts his foot in his mouth, as he does sometimes, he'll come out and admit it. He
right.
accepts the mistakes, like the tail end of the BYU game, which was a fiasco with the way they managed the clock. He still comes out and says, I need to do a lot better job. And there's something that's very genuine about him that resonates with people.
Yeah, I like that. It's a kind of a freshness, a refreshing take. And it's not always coach speak. It's sometimes you just spout off what you're thinking, and it may not always be the best, but if you come back and you own it, people get past that pretty quickly. One thing that I will say, Chris, is I'm going to give you your just due, because at the very beginning, again, in our fall preview, you said that there was something special about this team. You said that there was something different that was going on with this program. You brought that up. Nobody believed you. Everybody thought you were crazy, but you said it at the time, Chris. So my question to you is, what did you see that was different that nobody else, like you mentioned, they were picked 16th to finish in a conference. What did you see, Chris, that was so much different that you thought this team could be special?
Thanks for saying that. Brien, you can't measure desire. You can't measure passion. Everybody looks at stats and the players and the stars and all this thing. But when you get up close to somebody, you get a sense for how much passion is coming out of them, how much enthusiasm, how hard that they are willing to work. And you can compare that to everything else that you've done if you've been doing this 20 years like I have, right?
Right.
And there was just something different about the way they went about their business every single day. They had a tenacity, a fire in their belly. And Sam Leavitt is a leader. Like, he's a redshirt freshman and he hadn't been a quarterback before, but man, the dude got in Scadaboo's face when he went the wrong way on a crucial 4th down play against BYU. How many freshmen are going to get in a senior's face?
Right.
And Dillingham likes to be very process oriented. Let's not worry about the results. Let's control what we control today, and then let's do it again tomorrow, right? And I didn't expect ASU would come near 10 wins before the season started. But during the season, Brian, we pick games every single week, like a lot of the sites do. I was 9-8 picking ASU games this year, and I was 8-4 against the spread. So that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't expect ASU to win all of them. I thought a couple close games, going to Kansas State, that's a tough place. I thought that might be a loss. But the reality was I knew that this team was a lot better than what it was perceived to be by the general public.
Right. So here's the thing, and this is, maybe it's an Arizona State question, maybe it's not. To me, it's a slap in the face to the conference and to Arizona State, is because Arizona State was picked to be last. And now, because they ended up first, the perception is that the conference isn't very good. Is that even fair? Because to me, I don't think it's fair at all. It just means that we were wrong and that somebody else is actually good, that Oklahoma State and Utah, it's not Arizona State's fault or BYU. It's not their fault that they were bad. They were just better. So it's actually flip-flop, and I think some of that is being taken out on Arizona State, which is why you don't see them higher in the college football playoff rankings. I don't think it's fair. I kind of believe, Chris, you don't think that's fair either.
Totally with you. Let's take it a step further. Do people say the SEC is a bad conference because they got a bunch of 3-loss teams this year? Of course they don't say that. They say, ooh, the SEC, that's the greatest football ever to exist in the history of mankind, right? But if you just look at it, what happens is there's a bias from before the season about these are the blue blood teams, these are the best teams, blah, blah, blah. And then teams that aren't expected to do much of anything, it's much harder to convince people that they actually are very good teams. Like ASU is a very good team, period. If ASU played some of these SEC or ACC or Big Ten teams, it would be in those games. Like, yes. ASU is not giving up a bunch of points to anybody. They're not giving up cheap ones over the top. They're not having assignment issues. They got one of the best running backs in college football. They have one of the best wide receivers in college football. Sam Leavitt is the #1 freshman in PFF in the country at quarterback. And he's in the top 25 among all quarterbacks. They're just good.
Yeah.
So they would be in games with all these teams, in my opinion, and we may see them get their chance if they win the Big 12 championship and they don't get a bye. They might end up playing Penn State or whoever, Texas, if Texas loses in the SEC championship, or Oregon if somehow Oregon loses. They're going to play somebody good, and we're going to get a chance to test this theory.
Yeah, the thing that drives me insane about all of this, Chris, is the grace that Arizona State doesn't get. They lost a football game when their starting quarterback wasn't playing. I mean, and now granted, Cincinnati's not a good football team. I understand that. Having said that, if you have a decent kicker in that football game, things could be a little bit different. And also your starting quarterback didn't play in that football game. There is no way in the world that if Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Penn State, you name it, those teams, if they lost the game because their starting quarterback didn't play, they would all be given the grace of, hey, their starter didn't play, so let's take it a little easy on them. Arizona State's not getting that. And personally, I don't think anybody should get that, but I know those other teams would get that if that were the case. And that's that drives me insane about some of the disrespect that Arizona State's. But let's get off of that, man. Let's get off onto something better. Tell me about the fans. I mean, you talked about it earlier a little bit. Tell me how excited the fans are for Saturday. Because this is a huge deal for Arizona State.
There's more people going to this game than any postseason game in a decade or more at ASU. And obviously, when ASU plays in the Holiday Bowl or plays in Vegas Bowl, when things have gone well in the past, people drive to those things. People
Right.
are making trips 1,000 miles to go to Dallas on late notice because they're so bought into what's going on in droves. Like we had promotion on the network, right? ASU finished atop the Big 12 in new subscribers during this promotion, 7th of all the team sites. So
Wow.
that 7th among all team sites on this Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotion that we just had. It was one of the best weeks we've ever had on the site. I've been doing this a long time. So that shows you that people are very, very focused and attentive to what's going on right now. At the Territorial Cup, the response, there were hundreds of fans waiting to see the players go from the locker room to the bus, because it's a 2-hour drive back to Phoenix. Hundreds and hundreds of people. Cam Scadaboo he was like the mayor of Tempe. The dude was like taking selfies with all kinds of people. He was throwing babies in the air, Brian. Like you just don't really see things like that at ASU.
Yeah, man, that's super exciting. I am super happy for fans, for alumni, but more importantly for the players and for the coaches, man. They have really earned this. Let's turn our attention to the game. Iowa State's a good football team. You know, they played I don't even know if they really played their A game against Kansas State, but they were able to win that football game. They got a ton of injuries as far as the linebacker position is concerned, but they're still a very, very tough football team. How does ASU win this game on Saturday?
Pound the rock. Cam Scadaboo, big-time game, right? Iowa State, great team, extremely well coached, 2 dynamic receivers, 1,000-plus yard guys, very good passing defense, but the run defense is not very good. And partly it's because of what you said about the linebackers being out, but giving up 5 yards per carry, roughly the same as Arizona. The teams that have been bad in terms of their run defense that ASU's played against, it's pretty much been able to move the football and possess it in a way that's led it to play the style of game that it wants to play. And I don't really see that changing in this game. The physicality at the offensive line, the wide receivers, Hines Ward has remade that group in his image with their ability to block. Shimon Mater is a tight end, physical player. Dillingham's had the best physical tight end that he's probably coached. So somebody's going to have to step up because Jordan Tyson is not going to play. So they're going to have to get the ball to Xavier Guillory Moore, Melquan Stovall. Those guys are seniors. Maybe Jake Smith or somebody else steps up. But you're just going to see ASU relentlessly pound the football and screen game. They've had a lot of success with play action screens because teams are rolling downhill so aggressively to try to account for Scadaboo. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, Brian, because ASU's defense has only given up more than 24 points once in its last 7 games. And Iowa State is first in scoring defense in the Big 12. So you put that together, and this is probably a game that's played in the 24-20 or 27-23 type of a thing. And I think it's going to come down to be a very close game at the end. ASU's won more one-score games than any team in program history. So that's a hard thing to overlook in a game that is probably really close.
Yeah, the thing about that is that, they brought in a lot of transfers. And you brought in a bunch of different guys that just came in wanting to play football, play hungry, but wanted to win. And you buy into a system and say, hey, man, we're just going to make this thing work. That's what seems, again, from the outside looking in, Arizona State has done. That's why you can turn around things pretty quickly. I know there's a lot of talk about transfer portal. They hate this. They hate that. They don't hate it at Arizona State. They don't hate it at a lot of places, though, and you shouldn't. It's silly. This is the way that things are. Deal with it, and look what can happen. You can be in Arizona State, win 3 games, get picked to finish last, and boom, not only are they in the conference championship, it's not luck, Chris. They're a really, really good football team that is in the Big 12 title game and on the cusp of possibly going to the college football playoff, man. It's a great story. It's good for the conference, but more importantly for the conference, man, it's good for Arizona State. I want to hammer that point in more than anything. This is just good for Arizona State because, yes, it's important for the conference and all of that stuff, But Arizona State needed this, and they got it. They found their coach. They've got a culture. They had the fan base was always there. They just needed something to get behind. I'm excited to see what the atmosphere is on Saturday from the Arizona State side. Should be a fun football game, man.
Should be a very cool experience. ASU played there 2015, I guess it was, against Notre Dame. So covered a game there before that was a sort of a big game, but nothing like this. Xavier Alford, ASU star safety, played Jerry World 2 times in high school state championship games, so he knows what that's like. They have a very big Texas to Tempe, quote unquote, movement that's a part of this program. They have more players from Texas than any time in ASU history is on this team. And so those guys are going back home to play in the championship game because Dillingham and his assistants made good on their promise of giving them big game opportunities in their home state. So, and a lot of those guys were transfers, including Alford. So yeah. It's a scary thing for, I think, other teams in the Big 12, what's building right now at ASU.
Absolutely, man. Well, again, Chris, thank you for your time, man. You're always so gracious in coming on whenever we need you to come on. I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that I will be there. I want to make sure all my health stuff is still good. I don't want to push it, but if I'm good, I will be there and I will see you and can't wait to catch up with you and watch a good football game, my man.
Big B, would love to see you, man. Appreciate
Absolutely. It. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. We will talk to you guys soon. Out of here.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.